After 2 days off in a row on Sunday, Monday, Nebraska was back to work for their 19th camp practice here in Lincoln. Hi, Sean Callahan with HuskerOnline.com. Actually, the big story happened on Monday, though. The players and the coaches got their first look at the brand new locker room facilities.
It's really nice. I mean, it's top of the line, everything, state of the art that you could ever imagine, from saunas to float tanks to nap pods to cold tubs to hot tubs. I mean, it's the one of, if not the best facility in the country, and it's going to help us pay dividends for our players, recovery for our players, and recruiting down the road.
Yeah, it was crazy. With the construction here, I've seen it every day, but I haven't been inside, so just seeing it at full circle, it coming together was awesome. It was way more than I thought it was going to be. The locker room's 3 times the size as our last one, and we got nice pools. You've seen it all. It's incredible. Anything that has exceeded my expectations. So,
yeah, I think they do a really great job, and with the brand new facilities, it's been awesome. We just went through the new car wash and cold tubs and hot tubs, so my body's really held up well. Focused a lot on keeping my traps and my shoulders healthy and my neck. So that's really been a point of emphasis here.
I just think my favorite part about the locker room is we got nice speakers, the music always playing, and there's a good center for everyone to be around. I got to explore it more. We've been busy. I haven't even seen most of the stuff yet. But, yeah, it's just so far it's been great. So.
The heat also is a story this week. For the first time, Nebraska's players have been dealt with high heat conditions, and they've done a pretty good job of trying to balance using the indoor and the outdoor practice fields.
It's been hot. I mean, coming from South Carolina, I'm kind of used to it, but these last couple of days have gotten up there temperature-wise. So it's good, though. We're going to have to play in that sometime this year.
You just gotta focus on yourself and the people around you. You gotta lean on people around, but most of all, just focus on your technique. When you're out there, when it's that hot, especially me, you could just see. I'm just sweating right now, and you're like, oh man, you're just kind of getting in that mode of looking internally, and then once you feel that, then you kind of feel sluggish. But once you start looking externally, that's when you start doing good things out there.
I think just this last practice, coach did a really nice job of going indoors, outdoors, just being, we're not going to be those guys that give them salt pills and don't give them water breaks, right? We're going to make sure that they're safe. So we did a couple periods inside, a couple periods outside, and make sure that constant water the whole practice.
Saturday, the Huskers held their final scrimmage of the month of August. We heard from Marcus Satterfield, and he gave his thoughts on that scrimmage.
We went into it with the main focus of just operationally cleaning up the operation, playing with great tempo, and I don't mean no huddle, being able to mix that stuff in, but just getting in and out of the huddles, getting substitutions on and off the sideline. We worked really hard at that last week prior, and it showed. I think we did a really nice job, had no issues in the scrimmage, and I think it allowed us to play a little bit more free, and it got us started a little bit faster.
Quarterback Jeff Sims will obviously be a big part of this season for Nebraska. We talked to Satterfield about Sims and just things like what would be a good overall completion percentage.
I think he improved every single day. I think that he had a goal. He wanted to take care of the football. He wanted to increase his completion percentage. The first 4 or 5 days, the completion percentage wasn't as good as we wanted. Getting used to, again, playing all these different looks and stuff we're getting. And I think he just chipped away at it, and by the end of camp, it's around where we want it to be. And I think that he did a really nice job of taking care of the football. That was a huge emphasis for him. And then him just not being scared to use his legs. Don't be scared to use your legs when needed. But you'd like to be over 65. I mean, you're playing pretty good quarterback. You're quarterbacking at a high level if you're around 65%.
We know a lot about the running back room right now. Gabe Ervin Jr. is the starter at this point. Ramir Johnson's the third down back. We heard more, though, about Anthony Grant and where he's at in the mix from Satterfield.
I think he can be one of the top running backs in the conference. I think he's very talented. I think he's very physical. His athletic traits are off the charts. I think he's very willing. I think he loves football. He's super competitive, but you have to take care of the football. If we're gonna trust you by giving you the ball, then you have to honor the responsibility of ball security and carrying it the proper way. And I think he's working on that. He's doing it. He works at it every day. And he's a great kid. Nobody wants to lose the ball, right? But you got to prove a point, make sure that when we're out there that we're taking care of it. Because number one part of playing to win for us is don't beat ourselves, and that's the quickest way to do that. But we look forward to him doing some really, really good things this year. I think he's got a chance to have a great year if we can take care of that football.
Fullback was another topic of discussion as we heard more about Notre Dame transfer and Omaha Skutt product Barrett Liedert.
Very consistent. You know, he's like a good official. If you don't know they're there, right, they're doing a really nice job, and that's who he is. He's just, if you say the personnel grouping, he's out there, he does his job, he lines up correctly. You know, he may not be dominating his job every single snap, but he's doing his job, and that's huge for offensive football to know that we can count and he can be dependable.
Yeah, I mean, we've been using it in practice, you know, for different situations. I think, you know, Coach Satterfield has a good feel for, you know, some whatever it may be, whether it be short yardage or base down stuff, you know, trying to find ways to move the football, run the ball in different ways than just whether it be 11 personnel.
You know, Barrett, when he first came, you could just tell there's something different about that man, just for the fact of he reminded me, you know, I grew up over Catholic. I've always heard about the 90s football fullbacks. I've been around a lot of ex-players, and he reminded me exactly of like that 90s kind of chip on his shoulder fullback that's going to go drive somebody, like could go against anybody. So, yeah, he's been a great addition to our team, and I think he brings he elevates our toughness as an offense unit. He's one of those guys that brings his toughness every day. So.
And then finally, the Huskers have started to begin some of their preparations for Minnesota.
We're just kind of easing into it. You know, this is more about a simulated game week. Just teaching our kids, like, they're going to practice Tuesday mornings, you're going to practice Wednesday nights, you're going to walk through on Thursday mornings. So it's more about the simulation of the game week so they can feel what it feels like, as well as implementing small doses of our opponent on 8/31.
We'll hear again from Matt Rule and some of his players on Friday as they'll hold their weekly press conference for next week's Minnesota game. With Huskers and Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.